What's going on, guys? Welcome back to part 3 of how to take your jet ski or small boat to the Bahamas. Hey guys, welcome back. So hopefully you've already watched parts 1 and 2 of this, and if you've done that already, then you should be well into planning your trip. You guys should already have a destination picked, plan your trip on how you're going to get down there. You guys have booked lodging and got everything pretty much ready for your trip. The only thing that's left really to do is you need to start planning what you're going to do while you're there. Tell you what, guys, I'm going to ask for your help on something there real quick. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button below. I do have a goal for this channel to hit 1,000 subscribers by March of next year, so about a year from now, and I'm going to help you guys out if you'll do it. Once we hit 500 subscribers, I'll come back on and I'll do a video about Bimini, and I'll actually post my dive spot coordinates and give you guys the locations and what's there and what to expect to help you guys with some of your research when you're doing your trips. Once we hit 750, I will do Abaco, and at 1,000, I'll come back on here and I'll do the same thing with Exuma, post the coordinates of the things that we visited and exactly what we saw there, and kind of some recommendations on things that I think you guys might enjoy seeing as well. So once again, go ahead and subscribe below. But anyway, so we'll start going into this, trying to figure out what we're going to do, like for Exuma is what I'll use this time since that's where we're going in June. So I'll start picking up what we're interested in. Typically, we like to snorkel. We do love to find some like shallow plane wrecks, shipwrecks, stuff like that. Maybe some cool land-based activities. We can find some stuff on the islands that we find interesting as well. Sometimes it'll be buildings, sometimes it'll be animals on the islands. It just depends on what's going on. If any of you guys ever knew anything about Exuma, you know that they got some swimming pigs down there, of course, and there's an iguana island. It's got the just hundreds of iguanas that live on it that'll come out on the beach. So lots of cool things. You just got to do your research to figure it out. So typically, we'll start our research on this the same way just about everybody else does, which is we'll go to the old Googly machine. So we'll go into Google and we'll just go ahead and do a quick search, and we'll just typically search like dive spots in Exuma. So what I'll do once I click that is typically one of the other things I like to do is it'll probably pull up a list of a bunch of various items that you guys can look at. I usually click on the image tab, and the reason I click on the image tab is because what I will find when I do that is typically I will find maps that people have uploaded. In other words, it might be maps from where somebody had took a dive trip and that guy gave them a map, or something that they found somewhere else on the internet. I find that these are great starting points. Like this first one right here is a great one. Looks like it's got a ton of stuff on it. When I click it and actually go to the site that it's posted on, it actually has the reefs that are listed here and everything like that. So you can kind of get a brief overview of what you're looking at even. And this is a good spot to start then, because it gives me a small description of what I can expect to see at the reef. And then really I just have to go in and dig in and find out a little more about them. Typically what I'm looking for is depths. Like I know Amberjack Reef, I believe that first one there is about 30 foot. So not really ideal for us for snorkeling because it's going to be too deep. We're not going to be able to get down there with snorkel gear. But once again, just using Google, I can just go into Amberjack Reef. I'll Google search Amberjack Reef coordinates. You usually can probably find some of this stuff there. This will actually be one of the toughest things you guys will learn real quick as you go through it. It is not easy to find coordinates. This stuff is just hidden. People don't want to share them. They don't want to really post it out there where they are. I don't know why, but it is difficult in some of these things to find coordinates, and then it's difficult to find accurate coordinates. So, just with a quick Google search of Amberjack Reef, I found another site that had it listed, so I can look at the latitude and longitude here. What I will typically do on that as well is go back into Navionics, take those coordinates and plug them in and see if there's any resemblance on Navionics that reef is actually in existence there. You're going to find sometimes you'll find coordinates online and you'll plug it in and it's not even in the right area. It'll be listed somewhere in Abaco, even though it's supposed to be in Exuma when you plug the coordinates in. So once again, do your research. Don't just kind of go blindly into it. But this really will be one of the more difficult things you guys do. So my recommendation is find a site that might have multiple reefs listed. From there, Google search those reefs, and when you put in the Google search, type coordinates into the Google search, that's going to give you your best shot at trying to find actual coordinates on this. Some of the time, so you just kind of have to go blind, and I'll use these maps that I find, and it'll give me a general location. We'll go out there and we'll look for a mooring ball, or we'll just do a slow sweep of the area to see if we can find what we're looking for there as well. And a lot of times you'll find that some of the stuff's listed on Navionics. So if you can get the general area, it's pretty easy to go into the Navionics app and just kind of dig through and see if there's a reef or a shipwreck or something that's already listed there. So that'll give you guys a good starting point on that. Another good idea too is the same thing you're doing right now, YouTube. So if you're trying to decide if something you really want to see, like Amberjack Reef, if I go onto YouTube right now and type in Amberjack Reef, I guarantee there's a video somewhere of somebody snorkeling Amberjack Reef, and I can get an idea from that video of the depths, what I might see there, and if it's something that I really am interested in doing. wannadive.net is a good spot. It's got a bunch of coordinates on it. There's diveexuma.com if you're looking for Exuma. Biminiadventures.com has a great listing of all like the reefs and stuff around Bimini, even though they don't give you any coordinates. Once again, they'll give you a starting point with the name and kind of the description of what something is for you guys to be able to look at it. Myoutislands.com as well. That one will give you just a general overview. Once again, it's going to give you the name. But with that name, I can then go into Google and just really start trying to pinpoint what it is, what's there, and if it's something that I'm interested in that I want to do. So we'll spend the next 5 months doing that. It really is a tedious process, guys, but well worth it in the end. This is where you make or break your trip on what you plan to do. If you don't get down to somewhere like even Bimini and you only got 4 or 5 spots you want to see, what are you going to do the rest of the time you're there while you're on the water? I'm sure it's beautiful water, it's great to tool around, but I always kind of like to leave with a mission in the morning, at least have a goal of something that we want to accomplish that day. From there, what we'll start doing actually is we'll go into starting to plan our packing phase. So with the packing phase, basically, I'm going to start getting a list together of items that need to be packed to go on the trip. Maybe a list of items that I don't currently have even that I know I need, or items that I need to replace. I'll typically go into just start with an Excel spreadsheet or maybe a Word document and kind of keep a running tab of these things as I go. And anytime something pops into my head, I'll just make sure to add it on there. I am going to share with you guys my sheet that I have. My sheet's about 2 years old. I've been using it since actually longer than that. Gosh, I guess I started this sheet in 2015, so it's several years old now. So it might look a little confusing because there's some items on here that I already have, but I've just never deleted them because I keep them on there for a packing list. But anyway, this is my sheet here, guys. Basically on the left, it'll say items. Those were items at the time that I didn't have. Obviously, you can see they're all checked off right now, but that I needed to get. And what I would do is just X them once they actually arrived at my house. And then I had the packing list there in the center. That packing list was the things that I knew as I was packing to leave, I need to make sure were in my car to go with me. So a couple of things as I'll go down, I'll really just kind of stick with the packing list because the packing list is going to have all the same stuff that we had over there on the side. But the packing list, so first thing I had was 3 2.5 gallon gas cans. Doesn't matter if you're taking a jet ski or a boat, you're probably going to want to take extra gas with you on some of these things. Some people are probably saying, why a 2.5 gallon gas can? A 2.5 gallon gas can is so much simpler to use than a 5 gallon. If the seas are rough or anything like that, especially on a jet ski, it is much easier to manage that 2.5 gallon can trying to get it into your tank than it is trying to force yourself to manage a 5 gallon gas tank offshore in some rough seas. I highly recommend this. The next video, I actually plan to have my equipment out here, my skis, my boats, and I'm going to show you guys like where I store gas cans on the boats, where I store gas cans on the skis, stuff like that. So it'll make a little more sense when you guys see me go through that part of it. 2 new ratchet straps. I just had some that were had gotten rusted, and when I start go with the equipment video, you'll see how that happens as well. GPS map 78SC. That's for my jet ski. That's I think I showed you guys that in the first video. That is the GPS that I use on my jet ski. My boat, of course, has a dedicated GPS of its own. Something that I realized I probably hadn't talked about much in these videos is DeLorme InReach. I believe it's called Garmin InReach now. I believe Garmin since has bought them. But this is a pretty cool little tool right here, guys. This actually is a GPS satellite tracker. So basically, I turn this thing on, and it tracks where I'm at all times. I can send friends and family a link to where I'm at. Also, that can show them basically where we're tracking that day. I can send text messages from that machine while in the middle of the ocean with no cellular signal, no internet or anything like that. So if I get into trouble, I can do it. It's a pretty cool little device. I highly recommend you guys look into those. They're not really that expensive. They don't require an annual plan, so I can turn it off and turn it on as I please. So it's great when I can just turn it on. Usually I'll turn it on in May, and I'll turn it off in September because I won't use it for anything else during that time period. Compression pants, that's going to look a little funny to some of you guys too. This is more of a jet ski based one right here, guys. If you're going to take a jet ski, I highly recommend you have some form of compression pants you wear under your bathing suit that do cover your full legs. Or I've even gotten some like compression sleeves that go over my calves. What this does is a couple things. You have no protection on a jet ski from the sun. You are going to get torched on a jet ski. You need full skin coverage on a jet ski most of the time to make one of these trips bearable. Other than that, by the second day of your trip, I promise you're going to be hurting. Not only that, when you're crossing, you're a lot of up and down movement bouncing off of waves. Your legs are going to rub against the edges of the seat, and you will find that you will get rashes and various things. And these compression pants help that, where it doesn't happen. So either compression sleeves or compression pants. If you guys are riding on a jet ski, you're going to want the full coverage once again for sun coverage and for and to kind of help prevent your legs not get beat up or from rubbing around and stuff. Bug spray is mandatory in the Bahamas. I've said this in the other videos as well. I'll never camp. The bugs, when it goes down, sun goes down at night, they are terrible. Dry bag for clothes. Once again, I'll show you guys this when I bring out everything, and when I show you guys how I pack my jet skis and boat up and everything. But we use dry bags for the clothes. They can compact down real simple. Nothing gets wet then. It's great. Goggles, snorkel gear, that kind of stuff that we obviously need. Marine VHF radio. If you're taking a boat, go ahead and hardwire a marine VHF radio into your boat. The range on it just can't be beat. If you're on a jet ski, you do need to, you're going to want a handheld VHF radio. Go ahead and buy the strongest one you can with the watts on it. It's not going to make a ton of difference because a weaker one versus a stronger handheld, there is a little bit of a range difference, but once again, for the security purpose, go ahead and buy the strongest one you can get. I take a satellite phone. It's something I don't see a lot of people use anymore, but it's just a great tool while I'm out there in the ocean, especially in the boat. If something ever goes wrong, I can text from my DeLorme in reach and hope that somebody's going to get there to help me, or I can just pick up the satellite phone and I can call CTO and have CTO come get me. So the satellite phone's great. Where the DeLorme beats the satellite phone in some aspects is from an emergency perspective aspect. The DeLorme's got a SOS button on it. If I'm in a jam, I can press that button and it's going to send a signal right away that I need help, and it'll send it, and Garmin will send somebody to come get me. GoPros, obviously, we're usually making videos, so I keep those. The DJI Phantom will bring the drone. Glove box dry bag. Typically with this one, this is for the ski and the boat. I'll get like a quart Ziploc bag. And what I'm doing with that is I'm putting passports, cash. I call this my ditch bag, to be honest with you guys. But it's passports, cash. There's a little bit of snacks usually in there just to kind of get me through. Like some granola bars and stuff like that. All my customs paperwork, all the essential stuff. But the reason I call it a ditch bag is in an emergency, everything that I absolutely have to have is in that bag. So with money and a passport and things like that, I can get myself back out of the Bahamas, and I can still clear customs or whatever I need to do, but I can grab that one bag really quick and go. Even on the jet ski, it's great. Everything stays dry. But also when I'm leaving to go check into customs, once again, only the captain's supposed to leave, I'll keep everybody else's passports and stuff that's with me in there. That way, when I go, I just grab one bag. I can run up to customs, immigration, get everybody checked in, and move on. Cooler, I'm kind of a little bit torn on that one, guys. So on the boat, no big deal. We bring coolers. We bring lots of food. Done these trips on jet skis a bunch of times. I'm not a fan personally of bringing a cooler on a jet ski. It adds too much weight, and unless I'm just going somewhere where I know I can't get groceries for some reason, buy the groceries there. Unless you got a boat going with you that is willing to carry your cooler. Other than that, I just think it's more headache than it's worth. Even if you build a rack or anything like that, you'll find real quick that these racks are a bigger pain in the butt than they're worth sometimes, guys. And once again, I'll go into that more when I have my equipment here and I'm breaking down on what we do, on how I get my equipment and everything over there. But Abaco, Bimini even, Resort World Store has just about anything you can think of, guys. Exuma, San Jose, there is not much there. That's a different story. But, I would probably just plan on eating out every night I was there if I'm just taking the jet ski. Food and drink, you need to bring enough food and drink with you for at least a day or two. Usually like dry food and stuff like that, just in case of an emergency. Once again, if your ski breaks down, your boat breaks down, and you get stuck floating, have something with you to kind of get through to try and help yourself survive, more in a survival mode type deal. Water shoes are something that are almost a necessity for these trips as well. You're going to do a lot of time getting off of vessels and stepping into bottoms you've never been, and you don't know if that's a rocky bottom, a coral bottom, or a sandy bottom. And I tell you what, a lot of times they all look the same. The water's so clear that you can't really tell what's on the bottom. Obviously, if there's an anchor or something underneath you, you're going to see it, but the bottom itself, you just see a color, and the shale rock is it's white, just like the sand, and so you never know quite what you're stepping off into. High sunscreen SPF, that one's pretty self-explanatory what you're doing. I always bring a laptop with me. Once again, passports are important. Cash, this one's a debatable subject as well. You always do want to bring cash with you guys. I don't bring as much cash anymore as I did on the first trip. I think on the first trip I brought mostly cash, expecting to spend mostly cash. Pretty much it's converted down there a little bit. Almost everybody takes credit cards anymore down there. You don't need to have as much cash as you might think you need to have, but you do want some cash for an emergency situation. I would say at least a couple $100, and you'll need the couple $100 for checking through customs as well. Once again, most of those guys are taking credit cards now too, but just take the cash and make life easy. Headphones on a jet ski. This is a lifesaver right here, guys. If you're not doing this already, I highly recommend it. I have waterproof Bluetooth headphones that are like the noise-canceling kind. On these trips, it's not even as much about the sanity of the music to me. It is the sanity of not having that wind brush by my ears for 4, 5, 8, 10 hours. It drowns out the engine, the wind noise, and really helps with the fatigue on you. I've noticed a massive difference since I started wearing noise-canceling headphones on the jet ski trips versus when I didn't used to wear them. In fact, I carry 2 sets now, so if one dies, I can flip over to the other ones while we're out there. Of course, you're going to bring all your chargers for all electronic devices, batteries. Water socks are kind of cool. Water socks, I don't like the water shoes, wearing them for a really long, extended period of time. So the water socks, what it wasn't really about like the days when we were out on the jet ski, but it was at the crossing days. They were real easy, very comfortable, loose-fitting. They could get wet, and it felt more like I was riding barefooted, even though I still had the sun protection on my feet. Once again, the water socks were more about the sun protection than anything. I just didn't want my feet getting sunburned and being miserable after that. Cheap sunglasses, guys. I'll tell you what, I've lost multiple pairs of Ray-Bans. Buy some cheap polarized sunglasses for these trips. They're going to get banged up. You're going to lose them. Somebody's going to drop them. Something's going to happen. There's no need to try and pack your Oakleys or Ray-Bans or any of that stuff, man. You can pack them, just don't take them on the jet ski with you. The Vaseline. This is the subject nobody talks about, guys. Listen carefully. On a jet ski, and I've actually had some people tell me on a boat you need to do this as well. You're going to be wet. You're going to be bouncing around, and everything is going to be rubbing. Picture, I guess, without going too graphic, a baby, if you're familiar, with a diaper rash. That's what's going to happen to you. Vaseline up anywhere that you think needs protection from rubbing or something like that. I promise you are going to get chafing. It is not going to be comfortable, and you are going to be one miserable son of a gun if it happens. I learned on my first trip, man, and I'll tell you what, just trust me, get Vaseline. And once again, think of a baby with like a baby's diaper rash. Anywhere a baby you see gets a diaper rash, you need to probably go ahead and put the Vaseline there to kind of help yourself, make sure that it doesn't happen to you. I promise you will thank me later. And those of you who do this trip and don't do that, you will come back cussing me later too. I'm telling you now, guys, it's something you need to really look at and ask about. The other stuff that we'll bring, like any medicines, vitamins, Tums, like I always bring antacids and stuff like that. Just the days get kind of weird as you're going down there. Bahamas charts. I've got special charts for the Bahamas on my GPS, so I always make sure that I bring the card, because sometimes it's on the boat, sometimes it's in the jet ski one. Grill brush, spatula, just kind of basic stuff. Laundry detergent. The last one's boat registration. Once again, you need that, and that's one of those last things that I would tell you guys to make sure that you have on your packing list right there. So that's kind of my packing list where I would start. Your packing list may look a little different than mine in the end, but these are just some great things to kind of start planning. Once again, set yourself up where you've planned and organized like this, because it's real easy for me on the day before I'm leaving to start packing the car. Just go down this list and check everything off as I put it in the car, and I know it's there. And then even when I'm loading up the jet ski and stuff, I'm knowing what I have to put there, and I'll check it back off this list again to make sure it's all there. So, once again, guys, thanks for watching. If you have any questions about this, let me know. Once again, subscribe below, guys. Let's get that subscriber count up, and I'll go ahead and make those videos with the locations and coordinates of the where we like to visit and when we go to these places as well. And hope you guys enjoyed it. Have a good one. The next video will probably be about a week and a half out, guys. That one will be a lot more fun. That one I'll have all the equipment out. I'll have the boat, the jet skis here, stuff like that, and just waiting for it to warm up a little bit, guys. All right, have a great night.